So we pushed the bubble, we forgot the keys. Now we're trying to get there. What a rookie mistake.
Lala, wallah, you
There's your
can't.
chance, homie. There's your chance. Yeah, that was the last chance we had.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back.
Who is Sal Shakir?
A man of his dreams.
How do you feel in this specific moment?
Alive. Present.
Who was Sal Shakir?
A man trying to achieve dreams.
Since when?
Since I was a child, since ever I can remember. I remember dreams weren't success back then. Dreams was just happiness, and obviously happiness is the ultimate success, so your inner child always knows. But throughout time, you know, circumstances changed, so things got lost in translation, so survival was the only thought in the head for many, many years.
So where did it all start?
Started before I remember, because I hear stories when I was a kid.
Were you born here?
I was born in Iraq. I'm a Catholic from Iraq. So the story starts when I was a kid. There was a 1990 or 1991 war, and I was just a baby. And they say I used to hear the bombing, and they couldn't see. They only saw me They only saw the baby bottle and the milk bottle sticking out, and my head would be under the cover, but you'll see the bottle hanging from the side of the bed. So I guess that was a start.
So you grew up in a place where bombs and war was a normal thing.
Very normal thing.
How did that feel growing up?
No more different than going to get a Starbucks cup.
So it became a normal thing.
Became a normal thing up to an extent when you start losing like a lot of loved ones, a lot of people that you cared about.
So you lost some close ones to war and bombing?
Oh, I lost some very close ones.
What age?
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, like throughout.
So would you say that life became very real very soon?
Oh yeah, I had to mature up very, very early on. You know, alongside these years, when I was probably 12 years old, I don't remember how old, we were broken into twice, the house. The first time, they shot my dad.
Why?
We were Catholics. We worked with the Army, U.S. Army. You know, my dad had a small company that supplied generators and maintained them. I don't know if one of the two things or both, all the above. And yeah, it was real. Survival was very, very real. So it's a blessing in disguise.
Were things unstable growing up?
Very unstable.
Was the next day ever promised?
Next minute wasn't promised. I remember when the war first started, I was walking with a guy named Sal. His name is Sal too. And we were walking when the war first kicked off, and I still remember this. A bullet, like we're like, oh, it's not gonna happen. And literally we're still talking in the conversation, and a bullet fell down to like literally like a feet away from me. We looked at each other and we just jolted. It was, I mean, we've seen few after that, like literally in front of the house, like they would fall. But, you know, people, I don't know where they shoot at, and it's just free fall bullets. But, you know, at a young age, you know, survival becomes a real thing. But when you're in that mode, there's nothing else to think about besides, you know, how to survive in the next minute or the next day.
So when you're in survival, what do you look forward to? What can you look forward to?
Shelter. Literally shelter. And I remember that after the second break-in or First break-in, we start barricading doors, but they were still living in 2 different rooms. You know, me, my brother, and my grandma downstairs, my brother and my dad and my mom upstairs. And they broke in the second time, and they, I remember some like huge noises, like some bombing noises, and we used to hear that very often, like in the areas surrounding. And I woke up and I told my brother, I'm like, damn, they're bombing the crap out of that area. Like, and they were like nodded the head and like try to fall back to sleep, but it did. Then it didn't start not sounding like a bomb. It started sounding like footsteps, then a bomb. And then we realized there's someone is literally running, and then kicking the door, like slamming the door to open it. So we're just kids. Yeah. So we're just kids. At that point, I had a knife because the first break-in, I asked my dad to get a knife in case something happened, but they promised me not to do the same stupid mistake I did. I ran out when I heard a bullet, so I could have been killed or I could have been used as a hostage. So the second time when it happened, we just start screaming thieves or whatever as kids. And I hear my dad, there was 3 people inside and a couple of people outside. And I hear big footsteps and I hear bullets exchanging. So the guy who was knocking the door, and there was people upstairs shooting, and my dad's exchanging fire. As soon as the fire like slowed down that second.
This is a full shootout.
The house is.
How old were you?
11, I would say. I think it was 11 years old or something like that. And I remember this moment that I grabbed that knife and I held it so close and I opened up that door, which I shouldn't have, but I did it a second time. Then I see the 2 people run. I didn't know there was another person upstairs. The other person upstairs was running downstairs. I remember this very, very vividly. And he's coming and he sees me, he stops, and I'm like doing the same thing. And then he's trying to shoot, and then there's no bullets. So he's unloading as he's coming down. And he's trying to load. And all I do is, I don't know what to do, so I held the knife close to me and I ran upstairs. And as he was like confused going downstairs trying to load, I elbow him unknowingly. He falls down the stairs. He loses the clip, the magazine of the. We kept that for a while before we leave here, before we come here. And that was, he ran away, and.
So this was 11.
Probably 11, around that age.
So you had a gun pointed at you, and the guy tried to shoot you at age 11.
Yeah, but God got me that day. Like, what are the odds?
What'd you feel?
I was shook. The only thing I can think about, I think that's where, your instinct kicks in. Like, you take care of the family. You got to make sure everybody's safe. And even though I put my brother and my grandma in danger by opening the door the second time that happened.
Say that was when your faith started, or was it way before?
I've always been faithful. I used to go to church all the time. I served the church. So my faith has always been there, programmed by my grandpa. Grandpa's an amazing person. He's always helped people. He's always been a faithful person. When things start getting like realer, when not too long after that, I get a phone call, and it was my cousin, and she said, "Sal, please help us. Someone is breaking in the house." And I remember I was watching Oprah on the TV. I'm like, okay, in Iraq. And I still remember that moment. And my dad had just came back from visiting the Vatican. It was like a spiritual trip, and it was this first trip. So he came back, but he had an ear infection. So my mom took him to like a nearby nurse, drove him by to get like treatment. And so it was me, my brother only, and my grandma in the house. So I told my brother, please go get Dad. So my brother gets on the bicycle, try to go get Dad because they're not answering. And I carry the gun and I run. I run. There's obviously I couldn't make it. There's no way for me to make it. So a guy stops me, like the burger joint guy. It's a very small neighborhood, and like he stops me. I'm like, can you take me there, please? There's an emergency. And he takes me, and then there's a checkpoint. He's like, I can't. At that point, they would like, if they see you with a gun, they would take you in, and like you never know when you get out because things were really bad back then. And so I'm like, just drop me off here. I'll continue to run. So as I continue to run, my dad comes in with my brother, and he said, "Get in." So we get in, and we were too late. I remember by the time we got in, the car left. Her mom, had been shot, and so we drive to the hospital, and they say we need blood. So me and my brother don't know what to do. We're just running, saying we need blood. We don't even know type blood, or just running in the hospital. So my dad goes in the surgery room. A few minutes after, they get out. That was it.
For your cousin and your aunt?
No, just the cousin. The cousin kept calling me. He's like, "Is my mom okay?" I lied to her. And then the next day, they brought the coffin to the house, and she went down on her knees to the coffin, and she looked at me. She said, "Did you see what they did to my mom?" And she was crying. Believe it or not, for many years I blamed myself, until probably less than 3 years ago, because there's nothing I could do. I actually cried to my wife about it.
Did that moment, that experience bring more, what did that do for you growing up?
Well,
how was your outlook on life? How did you start
life
conducting yourself?
life looked like a shell at that point, and it looked like survival wasn't even there's one thing you can think about: survival. Happiness, yeah, you laugh here and there, but you don't know when you lose it. So tough moments in life makes I'm a definition.
How have you been living your life since that moment?
I don't take days by granted. Obviously we have to practice it more, because you watch the news or things like that, then you start remembering. I want to keep remembering these things, not to bring pain, just to live in gratitude, because we don't know what we have until we have something worse or we lose something. That's how we start appreciating things.
So when did you how was your did you guys have money in Iraq? How was your upbringing?
It was okay.
How did you get to the U.S.?
Our life was okay. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, we were getting by. My dad had me help him in his with the recent job that he had there, which is contractor with the U.S. Army to maintain generators. So I was his office manager pretty much. And we used to he used to get the big barrels of oil, and then we used to split them up into smaller barrels, manually, with the little vacuum thing. And man, they were heavy. My dad, so he used to pay us here and there, and then I used to manage his office. He used to answer his emails, make invoices, proposals, send estimates, and I felt pretty good, helping the family. We came here I left Iraq when I was 15 years old or 14 years old, I don't remember. Came here, stayed in Jordan for 6 months, then came to the United States. Applied for an asylum, got rejected. After 2 years, got rejected, and then after 2 years, after appealing it, we got accepted. At that point, we're gonna go back. We were devastated because we had to go back, because we felt like we came to safety.
Back to Iraq?
Yeah. So after 2 years, we got the green light that the asylum is granted. Then after that.
How did you feel in the moment when you knew that you were gonna leave a place where you had so much hurt and pain, and it was survival there? How'd you feel?
It was my same feeling of survival mode is kicked back on, because I'm that could happen tomorrow. That could happen any minute now. You could lose all this freedom. You got a taste of it, but it's going.
So when you got to the U.S., what started this journey as an entrepreneur, as a business owner,
What started it all as an entrepreneurship is it was unintentional. I remember me being back home, seeing nice cars, and I'm like, what would it feel like that person driving a nice car? You think they have it all, Now we know it's all, it's just a material thing. But when you're young and when you don't know better, it's just another thing. But my dad tried his best. My dad's a macho man. He served his family at the best he can. He's always been he's always provided what he can. And what happened is he tried to open up something. He worked, but financially he couldn't. He failed financially in here, and it hurts me to say that, but he did. And I saw my dad lose 70 some pounds in a matter of a couple of weeks, not even a month. And I saw my dad cry. I never seen my dad cry besides his brother's death. I remember sitting on that outside. I think there's some footage of that area, and that's where it all kicked off. I said I was in high school still. I was going to 0-hour school. Actually, before I was going to 0-hour school, I said no matter what I do, I'll make sure that my family will not fall into the same crisis, because they've worked too hard to bring us here. They've seen too much hurt to actually be in a situation like this, where, because we didn't think about financial, like freedom was the only thing. Now we came here, we saw another barrier. Financial, obviously, we had to level up, and financial was a big barrier. You can be free, but then there's other anchors in life, and that was one of them.
So what was your motivation?
Family, 100%. I said no matter what, I would make sure my family is taken care of. The house, everything. So I started going to 0-hour school. So 0-hour school is when you go before school, so I can leave early. I worked odd jobs. I painted walls. I did plumbing. I worked in the AC as a helper in AC air conditioning. I worked in dry cleaners. That's my first job, is as a dry cleaner, actually. Like,
how much were you making?
I think back then it was $6.25 an hour, something like that. So I used to save. Save money by ordering a pizza, Little Caesars pizza. It was $5 a pizza. I think it still is. I don't know if it is, but that used to last me 3 days. So it would last me. So I would save money. I would not go out.
But what was your goal then? What was your mindset?
Is save, and make and save.
For what?
For something great. I didn't know what it is. I know for something greater. I knew because I always knew when I saved the money, when I had that, I was gonna invest it into something. Whether invested in myself or myself doing something, whether in a product, whatever it was. But I knew that was the thing for me to do, because that was step one. So for me, saving wasn't just saving. For me, was limiting. No stopping at a gas station. People would stop. My friends would stop. I would just stay in the car. I wouldn't even go inside. I wouldn't get that Gatorade. I wouldn't get that Red Bull. I wouldn't get that bottled water. They would go to hookah lounges. They would go to get coffee, stuff like that. I would not do that, because that meant more saving for me. And it started, everything start. Then opportunity knocked.
So did you have it all figured out when you started?
Heck no. It's funny. Did I have it figured out when I first started? That's a great question. I had no idea, like zero idea, because it scares me to think about it. How what's the word? I would say stupid, but it's not stupid. It's I don't know the word.
Misled?
Not misled. Ignorant. I was so ignorant that that idea, oh, it's great, let's do it. And then you do the idea, you do it as a young person, and you have no support, no like emotional support, or not like mindset. So that's why mindset is great, because with mindset you can do more. So you would like make money, something like doing every odd job you can think about. You bust your butt doing it, and then you lose for like over a year. Not 1 minute crossed my head saying, well, maybe this is not the thing. So it was the ignorance, maybe it was the stupidity, but it was a blessing that I was ignorant to it, because it opened up the doors. I was flipping cars, wholesaling cars, buying at the auction, fixing them up, and then putting them back to the auction. But lost a lot of money. Even though it's not a lot of money, like to a lot of people, it was a lot of money to me. And but that was the blessing that it would not 1 minute. It was like, okay, let me stop, because if I had that idea, I would probably stop. But my ignorance stopped me. So it was the blessing in disguise. That was the bliss. That was the blessing I needed, and I had it.
When did you start achieving success as an entrepreneur?
I bought my first condo, I think, at 18 years old or something. I bought it for $15,400, and I rehabbed it, and that's all the money I had. And I God's got me. This is crazy. I didn't know how I was gonna be able to afford that thing after I bought it, because I saved, like, that was all the money I had after, like, buying some cars, and and my family is like, what are you gonna do? Put that money back into the cars, because that's all the money. That was a lot of money, like all the money. I worked so hard to save, so hard. And after a little bit, I get a phone call. Barbara, a lady named Barbara from a home association of that place, and she said, hey, we have a check here. We have some funds from insurance, because the condo I bought was on fire, so I rehabbed it. It was literally like burnt, so I bought a burnt condo. That's why I got it cheap. It was actually worth like 10 grand probably burnt, but I paid a little extra because it was like everybody buying. And she's like, well, if you fix it up, whatever, you just bring us the invoices and we reimburse you for the rehab. I'm like, what? What? She's like, yeah, Merry Christmas. That's what she said. I said, wow, thank you. So I finished it up as fast as I can and gave them the invoices and paid me up as much as they could, I guess. I don't know if they paid me, but.
How much was it?
I don't know. It was not much, because like most of the work was done by as cheap as possible. Like by that time it was almost done, but I was scraping by, like working as much as I can to finish it. So I didn't even have the money to finish it. So I was like barely scraping by.
So doors for you started to open up
when I just said, F it. I took the leap of faith. I let go of the vine, and that's it. And it happened. It happened with the car business when I'm like, I didn't know, like I started losing it, didn't say no. And then when I took a new venture to buy a real estate, which I wanted to buy so I could rent it, and I rented it for almost 2 years. I was getting like $900 a month minus HOA, so I was saving. I was like getting like 600 and some change a month, which was great. I was a landlord at an early age, and it was a blessing. Sold that. That's how phase one pretty much got funded. Flipping, Carlos and myself said, let's flip houses, and like from selling that one, I had some funds, and Carlos had sold his house and he had some funds, and boom, we're doing it as a hobby. Hey, puppy. Well, there you go.
So where did business start for you, and where is it now?
Business started for me is the minute that I saw my dad sitting on that chair crying, losing weight. I've never seen my dad lose that much weight, crying, like depressed. That's where my business kicked in. My survival in business kicked in. And you know what? No matter what, at that point, there's no matter fucking what, nothing could say no to me. Nothing. Like, oh, you're not gonna make it? I couldn't. There was, and no was not like something I could entertain at that point, because there was no other option. I'm like, there has to be. I told my family, yeah, I'll go to school because they want me to go to school. I didn't. I signed up for college, but I didn't go to college. I said I'll go back to college when I'm financially stable. And I didn't go back. That was always the goal. I never went back because I knew
It was do or die.
it was do or die. I literally burnt the boat. I burnt the boats. And for people that say, well, I don't know what to do or whatever, well, you know what? Your back is not against the wall. And you're lucky that you don't have your back against the wall, because you have the luxury of putting your back against the wall. So for people that choose, oh, I can't, well, people talk down to me or whatever, like, or my family doesn't believe in me. Do you think my family believed in me? My friends believed in me? You think anyone believed in me? Everybody thought I was crazy. My family thought I was crazy. And you know what? It's okay. They don't know better. They didn't know better. And when people do that to you, fuck that. Don't prove them wrong, because a lot of people go out there and try to prove people wrong. That's wrong. Prove yourself right. That's what I fucking did. I proved myself right that I can do this. So if you're listening to this, I'm sorry to curse, but it pisses me off that people whine a lot. Why? Why me? Why did this happen to me? This happened for you. Why did I survive a bullet? Why did I survive bombings? Why did I survive kidnappings? Which, by the way, I've almost been kidnapped twice. My brother as well. Why did we survive that? It happened for us. Why do we have no power? A lot in Iraq. I used to wake up at 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Power used to go out, in and out in Iraq. We used to have like 30%, 40% power. The other 60% no power. So it would come on, and I used to have to go switch the generator lights on and off. And at nighttime, I used to get out, take the gun, unlock the door, make sure no one is outside, switch the breakers, go turn on the generators, do the same thing multiple times a night. So it built character. And yeah, when I was a kid, I was crying about it. Oh, why did I have to do this? Do other people in other places have to worry about things like that? But you know what? It happened for me. So whatever's happening in your life right now, if you're going through hurt, if you're going through financial crisis, relationship crisis, family crisis, living situation crisis, job crisis, just know that you hold the power to change that, and it's happening for you.
So your business, or your dad, where did that go? If you would be able to summarize from that moment to now, what would it be?
It was hustle mode on. There was literally nothing inside. Like, you could call me, if you were my friend back then, you probably would think I'm the worst friend, because I would never, like, I had no time for anything else but chase. Like, I was just chasing the next opportunity. I would create an opportunity for the unknown, to be honest.
For who?
For my family. For us. My family brought us to this great country. We fled to survive, and we survived that. And now it's the survival on a different level.
So that motivation took you to what levels, to what businesses, to what success?
Today, I'm blessed with 26 businesses, great business partners, financial freedom, all thanks to the Lord. Working on time freedom. I have a lot of time freedom, but always can be improved. Time, I got married to a beautiful wife, to the love of my life, actually. At the time of recording this video, we're blessed to have a little baby in the making. We don't know the gender yet, but whatever it is, blessed. And actually, as we're driving this boat right now, I was able to pay off my parents' mortgage, which I wanted to do that. Don't cry, Mom. She's on the phone. She's crying. Don't cry. I love you. Hang up, baby. Okay. I was able to pay off my parents' mortgage. And that was the best feeling. And I'm glad. One of my best friends was there to actually capture it. He literally changed the Uber. Alex changed the Uber. Let's go to Wells Fargo, I said. After. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go to Wells Fargo right now. So change the destination from, I hope you have the picture still, from from going to the hotel to Wells Fargo, paid off the mortgage, and was able to pay off their debts recently as well. And that's a great feeling. And today we're driving by right now. I just purchased my dream house that I always wanted to purchase, a house on the water. That was my dream. Water calms me down. And this is it, right here.
How does it feel to look at this coming from Iraq, from such a tragic circumstance?
It's not so much coming from, I wouldn't relate it, because coming from a tragic place could be, tragedy can happen at any level. It doesn't have to be extreme, because it's all a perspective. And I'm gonna try to explain this in a best way possible. Tragic to me back home was like death, and like seeing death and bombing and this and that. Tragic nowadays to other people could be a power day out, or it could be a flat tire, could be a car accident. But as humans, we always push through, and I'm gonna try to break this down as simple as possible. I'm gonna break it down to the weather. When it's 50 degrees, you get cold, and then when it's 60 degrees, you're okay. Then 70 degrees, you're better. When 70 degrees, there's that breeze that gives you the chills sometimes at night, or 60 degrees. But then, now it's 80 degrees today, as the weather is almost 80 degrees. We're like, oh my God, it's super hot. How is this hot? Like now today is gonna get hotter, maybe it gets in the 80s, like higher in the 80s, and like, oh my God, it's hot. And then somehow our body gets accustomed to it, and they're like, okay, 88 is not hot, 90 is not hot. Then it gets up to 100, and it gets up to 105 as we live in Arizona. And you're like, how in the heck, I can't survive in 105, I can't survive in 109, but then you do. It's that push, it's like we're always push. We get accustomed to things. And that's the beautiful thing in human nature is we get accustomed to things. Our body gets accustomed to things, our mind can get accustomed to things as well. And guess what controls our body is our mind. So things like that, we don't even know about it. It just happens. And that's why it's big, the mindset when it comes to business. I would say it's probably the biggest thing. Because if you have a lot of naysayers and you block that noise, good for you. They say you can't do it, fuck you, watch me. Watch me prove myself right, not prove you wrong. And that's it.
So your motivation started with family. When did it expand?
When it started becoming bigger than the people I can count. It started serving people that in our organization, our team members. It starts serving people I don't even know about that. You know, they say, you helped us, whether I help someone financially or help them with a few words, or our movement, All In movement, help them with achieving great things. I've seen people their family know our names. I've heard people say that we pray at night for you guys every day. We pray for you. I'm like, what? Things like that, and it sounds like it's bigger than us. So,
what is All In to you?
All In is it's the dream that came true that hasn't caught up yet to everyone. It means hope. It means fulfillment. God, family, hustle. Once you pass that, there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing. No one can stop you.
No situation?
Situations change. Situations is always going to change. Are we always going to have this great day? Weather amazing? No rainy days? No. What are you going to do about it? Is life going to knock you down? Fuck yeah. Are you going to get up? Well, that depends. Am I going to get up? God willing. God got my back. But you know what? Previously, I fucking got up every time. And to people that think that every successful person that you see out there, that they're lucky, or they come from a family, from a trust fund baby or whatever, there might be some. But don't judge everyone like that. I would say 90% is not like that. 90% is the hardship, the X factor, the hardship that they come from.
What's your X factor?
Survival and family.
You have this $1 million house. You have your dream car. You have dream businesses. What's next?
Good question. There's always a next. There is fulfillment. Obviously, we get fulfilled by purchasing nice stuff and taking care of the people, but they're always the greater goal. Now I know, after all in, after everything, after it became bigger than me, I know that the day I die, the last breath I take, I want to know that I have served my purpose to the highest level and delivered to the people to the highest level that I can deliver to. So when I die, I know I fulfilled, because I know my calling now.
How does it feel to be a leader of All In?
Surreal. I feel like I don't want to call myself a leader of All In. I would say that I'm a part of it, because All In is, I would say, yeah, I'm a part of it. I'm a servant of it for sure. Because All In is about servanthood. Whoever, and trust me, when you serve, you get. But the best thing about serving, always release expectation. Serve without expecting anything back, because it does come back. It doesn't have to come back financially or anything, but just comes back with blessings, health, happiness, fulfillment, family, indirectly, just even to close people, they're just blessed for that. So I'm proud to say I'm a servant of All In. Are you?
What would you tell somebody new to the All In movement?
I would say go in there with the biggest intention, because intentions and clarity gets you to your destination a lot faster. But go in there with no expectation, and you'll be surprised. You'll get the chills.
What's your superpower?
My superpower is, which I recently found out, is I'm a long-sighted person. So I can see years ahead where I would stand, or where people around me would stand, with a small vision that I've had. And because it's such a long sight, that along the way greater things happen without noticing. So the long sight becomes even longer as days go by, and they're just served. They get served, and they fulfill more.
What would you tell yourself what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
I would say I would have tuned in with the long vision more. I would have tuned into it more, and I would have educated myself on the business side, on the spiritual side, on the personal side. But I was too busy hustling. But that was probably part of the journey. I wasn't ready yet.
What makes Sal different?
What makes me different? Everybody thinks themselves is unique, and every fingerprint is unique. But I think I have a soft spot for people. I love helping people. It's the way my family raised me. When we sit down and eat, they always offered the plate to whoever was standing. Then we get to eat. We eat last. So I think they created a leader by small habits. Spreading happiness, spreading kindness, spreading awareness. And I would go back to my 21-year-old and say, be more present and be more aware, because I wasn't. And not up till recently, I wasn't present. But it's actually a really good feeling to be present. You know, no one can take it away from you. There's nothing can take away the feeling that you cannot strip me away of one thing is a great feeling. Because I could have been stripped of my life, my loved one's life. That was a real thing. But this, can't take it away.
Take the next 2 to 3 minutes to speak some words of encouragement to your younger self. And I want you to almost feel the pain and the confusion and the lost, how lost you were during that time. And what words of encouragement would you give that person? But say it as if you're speaking into your old self, but for people going through the same thing.
If I was younger, if I was your age or younger, or even, I'm sorry?
Just starting.
Yeah, if I was just,
Start again.
yeah, if I was younger or just starting, age doesn't matter. Whew, things I would do different. You know what? I can't ask for much right now for where I stand because a lot of things happen for me, and it's a blessing. But you know what? I would do these things. I would not be stubborn. I would take criticism, whether it's constructive or not, because you know what? Anyone can know information that you don't know. Anyone can give you advice. A day older than you could be a year worth of information more than you. Listen to that person. Do not take things for granted. Do not ever miss that one moment, happy moment, because you think you're too, you don't deserve it, because that is a real thing. Some people don't deserve to be happy. They create problems. Be present in those moments. Be around the people that you love. Cut the dead weight, and you'll realize how fast you'll propel in life. Build a family. If you're thinking about that, don't let that limit yourself. Don't let that limit you. I had talked to a friend that was waiting to propose until they bought a house. I'm like, what are you waiting for? Is that really a reason? Don't find excuses, and don't let the surrounding put you down, whether it's your close ones, your outer circle, inner circle, whatever it is, because it has. And let's be honest, it does at days, at night times. Don't let that, because you know what? You're destined for greatness. Maybe you don't know that yet. Maybe it doesn't feel like it. Maybe everything feels wrong. But when it's right, that one right thing will hold weight way more than a million wrong things. And I stand here to confirm that, young Sal. When you were young, you're making mistakes or you're thinking otherwise, your drive will put you there. Your drive will get you where you want to be. Because life is short. If you don't take those chances, and if you're waiting on something that you waited on, we've all been victims of that. We've all been guilty of just procrastination. We would procrastinate an extra day, an extra week, an extra month, an extra hour. Don't fucking do it. Because guess what? Everyone else that's achieving their dreams, they're doing it. And if you're complaining why you don't have it, shut the F up and get to work. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I just went IG Live. Any words?
Life is amazing, and you have the choice of making it amazing.
Someone said Captain Sal.
I need that.
Jalen's on. What's up, Jay?
What's up, guys? Life is amazing. It can't get better than this. And you know what? Physical circumstances, health circumstances, financial circumstances, family circumstances, wealth, health, everything, job circumstances, all that is temporary. because you hold the power of changing that. And if someone tell you otherwise, you can tell them to go fuck themselves, because that's reality. That's a reality.
That's how we feeling?
That's how I feel. I mean, you hold your destiny. You can change anything. You can put your mind to it. Yeah, you might have some limitation, but does that mean it's going to stop you? Like, God forbid, if I lost my legs, is that going to stop me
From running. Maybe.
from running? But it's going to stop me from other things?
I'm kidding.
That's how I feel.
Let's go.
Invincible and blessed at the same time.